Hey guys, and welcome back to Mika Reacts and Reviews, where we react and review to things on the internet. And today we are going to react and review Tom MacDonald's People So Stupid. So I don't know exactly when I'm going to upload this video, but I am uploading this video less than 24 hours before Tom MacDonald's dropped his new album, or his new song and video, the first one of this year, 2021. There was a lot of, like, he was going to release all this other stuff, but because of what happened in politics and media, he didn't release it out of the fear of people thinking that he was promoting something or agreeing with something and sort of taking him out of context. Anyway, we get more into that when we watch his new video, which I'm really excited about, called Fake Woke, which is definitely a thing. It's like a cancer right now, fake wokeness. Anyway, we are gonna get into Tom MacDonald's People So Stupid. Welcome Hawk fam, welcome Hangover Gang. And this is a reaction review, which means that I have watched this video before. This is not a first reaction. I just wanted to break it down and review it and give you my input or insight onto this video. Okay? I like Tom MacDonald's, but I'm an honest reactor reviewer, so you get my honest opinion about the song and what's being said. Okay, let's get into it. Sorry.
Hi, I'm praying that the world changes soon. Can get a doobie on a plane, but there's Uzis in our schools. Every dude who touched a boob or a booty getting me too. What you expect from the kids who went to Hooters after school? We're all triggered and
okay, first off, I love, again, the production. This is before lockdown, so like he was able to get into the studio and stuff like that. This is my very first song I've ever heard of Tom MacDonald's, and it had 12 million views, so it went pretty viral. And I remember when I first heard it, I was like, thank God. Like, someone said it. So I love the production. I love the whole news thing, because we know how race baity and fear mongering the news can be. It's all about the numbers. It's all about ratings. It's all about money. It's not really about giving you the truth and the fact. It's about telling you what you think you want to hear, so you click more and give them your views, and so they can rake in the cash. And I believe this is Tom MacDonald's sister, who is gorgeous and beautiful. Okay, so let's actually break down the bars. The whole, like, you can't get a doobie on a plane, but you can get Uzis in our school. Yeah, I totally agree that the security is lacking in our schools, and at some point, how many more mass shootings can we get before we realize, like, there's an issue? And just cracking down on guns don't do anything, because criminals are criminals for a reason. If you make more and more gun laws, it's not like you're gonna make gun laws and criminals are gonna be like, oh damn it, I was gonna commit a crime with a gun, but they made these gun laws, so I'm just not gonna do it now. Like, most criminals break the law, so if you make more gun laws and more gun restrictions, the criminals are still going to break the law and get gunned, because they are criminals. Not that most school shootings are done by criminals. They're usually done by young people who have mental health issues, which is the thing that we should be, like, looking at, instead of just trying to basically punish law-abiding citizens who went through the law and regulations to get their firearms. Why don't you crack down on, first of all, the black market when it comes to guns, and also making sure these children mental health is okay by providing them counseling and help, and trying to figure out what's going on in their homes and their families and what's going on in the school system to get them to this point, instead of, again, just like basically punishing everyone else who's going by the law, by the book, and you're punishing them for they had nothing to do with the school shooting. If that makes any sense. And the whole, like, getting MeToo thing, that's a whole different video, but I will say a bit here, and probably people are gonna not agree with me. The MeToo movement was started by, I believe, a black woman who was trying to give a platform and a space for women who don't usually have a voice, or a platform big enough to be able to have a voice and to be able to get justice, a place so they can, like, put out their grievances or air out their grievances. And it was completely taken over by celebrity, which, in my opinion, and yes, I'm not talking about everybody, in my opinion, just seemed like a lot of older actresses who no longer got movie roles like they used to, and basically just telling the world that they traded sex for movie role. They traded sexual favors to get into Hollywood, to get into an industry that they completely profited off of after that by, you know, getting into more movie roles, becoming rich, becoming famous, and now coming out and saying, well, I regret that. They didn't take any like accountability for their actions. They didn't even take any accountability to the fact that they helped continue the you know, the casting couch culture in Hollywood by going along with it and staying quiet for all the years that they were making money and being in movies and completely profiting off of this sex trade thing that they did. Like for me, if you're an adult and you decide, hey, if someone comes to you and say like, look, I have a movie role, you want this role, in order to get this movie role, you gotta give me a tit for tat, you gotta lay in a bed with me, you gotta have sex with me, you gotta give me, you know, a blowjob or whatever, and you decide as an adult that I'm going to do this because I want this movie role, then you made that decision. I don't really understand how that's like the same thing as like RAPE. Like, you made that decision. You can regret it all you want. You can say that these men are sleazy, but you were still an adult and you still made that decision. I didn't really take any of it that seriously. I rolled my eyes at it the whole time. Not everyone, but especially people like Meryl Streep that literally stood up for that pedophile who had sex with a 14-year-old girl, stood up and applauded him and defended him and said the 14-year-old girl basically deserved it, but now she's all about MeToo. Like, this is just celebrities trying to stay relevant and get likes and clicks and pander and seem like good people, where it was just a bunch of grown women who traded sex for a movie role for the most part. Yes, they're creepy old men, and yes, they use their power and their influence to get something from you, but the only reason why they had power is because you gave them that power. If your morals told you that you do not want to have to trade sex for a movie role, but you allow that movie role to be more powerful than your morals, then you made that decision. If the movie role wasn't as more powerful than your morals, then that casting director or that producer wouldn't have had power over you, because you would have been like, it's not worth it to me, I'm walking away. There's like this idea that like feminism wants to like, oh, women are so strong, but when it comes to like holding them accountable for their own parts to play in things, it's like, no, like there were these weaklings and they got manipulated and these men have power over them. It's like, if someone came to me and was like, you want this Ferrari? Well, you gotta suck my dick to get the Ferrari. I'm gonna be like, actually, it's not worth it to me. I'm gonna walk away. Therefore, that person has no power over me. But if you are a female and that Ferrari is really important to you and you suck the dick for the Ferrari, then that person had power over you because that Ferrari was really important to you. So you make the decision whether someone has power over you or not. You have some self-accountability in this. I'm not talking about the situations where people were actually RAPE'd, and I'm not talking about children, which is another reason why I side-eyed the whole MeToo movement, because I felt like if these women were actually really serious about trying to drain the swamp per se in Hollywood, they would have been giving you that long list of all the pedophiles that's in Hollywood and in government, all the sex trafficking and all the molestation that goes on in Hollywood that's rampant right now. Like California, LA has one of the biggest underground child trafficking rings in America. If they were serious about really trying to take down Hollywood, that is what they would have been talking about. Not grown women who traded sex for a movie role. I'm sorry, yeah, that's sleazy, but you are grown. Like, I've had sexual encounters that I'm like, ugh, I wish I didn't do that. But I don't then turn around and put all the blame on the guy. Like, I made a decision to do that. Maybe he pressured me. Maybe he said something to get me to do it, but I still made that decision to do that. He's sleazy, maybe, but did he break the law? Is it sexual assault? Is it RAPE? No, because I made the decision, and maybe later on I just regretted my actions. All right, that was a really long section, but this is the nature of my video. This is a conversation piece, and this is really breaking down the video and what I feel about the bars that Tom MacDonald here is dropping.
We're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful. Name a thing that you can't do. Jumping jacks, run a mile.
Exactly. We grew up watching South Park. South Park is still on. Even Adult Swim has like non-PC cartoons and stuff like that. Like, And I'm still surprised it's not canceled. I think they tried to. They kind of like touched on trying to cancel it. But just like Dave Chappelle, like they're just not cancelable. And people just weren't going to have it. So it's just like kind of funny to me where like we all grew up on South Park and Family Guy and The Simpsons and all those other shows. And now we're literally fake outraged by non-PC talk or language. A lot of it's fake. A lot of it's fake just to get clout, just to get clicks, just to get views, just to seem like a good person. But on the inside, you're laughing. Like when that one YouTuber, I forget her name, she came out with that Dear Fat People video. It was funny. And then seeing all these virtual signaling YouTubers come out and be like, oh my god, what she did was so disgusting. And there was one YouTuber that literally was watching the video, reacting to it, and she started laughing and then caught herself and went like, oh, I'm just laughing because it's just so ridiculous and she's so fat phobic. And I'm like, you're laughing because it's funny. It's fucking funny. Like, stop. Why do people care what other people think about them on the fucking internet? Why do you care? All right, let's continue.
School. We're all triggered and defensive, we're all racist and we're sexist. We all grew up watching South Park. How are we offended? Now being fat is beautiful? Name a thing that you can't do? Jumping jacks, run a mile, live past 42?
Yes. Of course he's exaggerating, right, with the whole like being fat is beautiful. Fat people can jump around, jump, do jumping jacks, or maybe they can even run a mile. But I think he's just hitting on the absurdity of like health at every size, which is like just factually not true. Like, even if you are too small, you are not healthy. If you're an anorexic, you're not healthy. And if you're morbidly obese, you're not healthy. I mean, like, it's like this PC culture just wants you to deny reality and truth and understanding and common sense and logic just to like appease people's feelings. It is not my obligation to make sure your feelings aren't hurt. That is not my obligation. And just because you're offended doesn't mean I was offensive. Just means you are offended. And just because you are offended doesn't mean that you are factually correct or you have the moral high ground or you're righteous in any way. It just means you're offended. And so it's just kind of absolutely nuts that the fat positivity is like this crazy cult that's just like, no, deny all science, deny all truth, deny all the doctors and all those things, because it just makes me feel better. Like, we have years and years and years and decades of evidence that is not the case. I'm not saying that you can't be like thick or even a little chubby and still be fine, and you can be quite petite and still be fine, but there are extremes of the spectrum that you are not healthy, and there's a reason why you don't see a bunch of obese elderly people walking around, which is the live past 42 line drops in. You know, that doesn't mean that you should disrespect bigger people, that they shouldn't have rights, that they shouldn't be loved, they shouldn't have self-worth and confidence and feel beautiful. But to like make it seem like it's healthy is just absurd, and sort of trying to like, and this idea of trying to like change beauty standards, they're not like, beauty standards is always going to be here, but they're not trying to like add their beauty standards into it. They're basically trying to replace what the beauty standards are now and to say like, no, fat is beautiful, and this fit person, that's toxic, but this fat person, that's beautiful. This person that actually put effort and work into what their body looks like, that's toxic. But me, who've done absolutely nothing but just eat and live my life, then this is beautiful. Like, you know what I mean? And again, it's the same thing with all these kind of groups that claim to want to create equality. It's really less about equality and kind of like they just want power and kind of remove what was there before, like New Age feminism. It's not about equality. It's like giving women more special privileges and power, and less about equality. Same thing with people of color. It's not really about equality. It's about, you know, pushing down this group of people to uplift this group of people. You know, and it's kind of the same with all these groups. So let's continue.
Man, it used to be cool to just flip a bird to the system, and now it's trendy to be triggered and pretend you're a victim. It's my race, it's my weight, it's because I'm a Christian. I hate the internet and anyone who has an opinion. And everybody angry if you say white, fine.
Exactly. And the whole thing about like, I know there's real like internet cyberbullying, especially when people are young and they're high school and they don't have the tools to be able to like mentally be okay and strong enough to like understand that people on the internet trolling you and trying to attack you are some of the most pathetic people on the planet. Like, they just are. Like, you take your time out of your day to like attack people on the internet. Yeah, and I think a lot of this like people bitching and complaining and crying on the internet is just another form of virtual signaling, because it's a very aware thing that being oppressed kind of gets you clout these days, right? So if you can make this meme or this rant on the internet how you were attacked because you're a woman, or you were attacked because you're black, or you were attacked because you're gay, or you were attacked because of your religion, then people are gonna come and coddle you and give you all this attention and all poor you, and then go attack and try to cancel the person that you are offended by. So I just think it's just another way of just getting attention on the internet. I am not saying that's all the case or all the time. Yes, some people are genuinely harassed and bullied on the internet, but I think a lot of it is just like, I want attention, I need a voice, I want a platform, and people have realized being oppressed gets you clout, being a victim gets you clout. That is just a real thing, and it takes away from the attention from real victims in society.
Pass me the brush and I'll paint my face to the shades right.
Yeah, like, so basically like being white is just not okay anymore. And I feel like this is exactly why so many people, especially like white progressives, are like scrambling for some other label, so they're not just like white cis and male. They want to have some other label so they can kind of like put them on another like category. Like, no, I'm not just a white cis male, I'm also like non-binary, trans, demi, boy, trans species. You know what I mean? So like, just not seen as that, because that's bad, right? You know, white cis male. And I actually met someone like this in my real life. I met a guy who was a self-proclaimed proud male feminist, who was just another like pandering white progressive who thinks he knows all the lived experience of black people, and just judged him off of that because he's such a good self-righteous human being, but truly was just a cunt and an asshole and a know-it-all, right? But he actually said to me one time that he really wished he was gay, and he actually tried to be gay because he doesn't want to just be a white cis male, because it's just not cool anymore. It's not good, guys. Okay, let's continue.
Let's talk about abortion. Sorry, tell me how this works. Bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat isn't life on Earth? Weird.
Exactly. I know I'm stopping it a lot, and I know this video is long. I know. But I just want to like break down each part. The whole like bacteria is life on Mars, but a heartbeat is not life on Earth. I am personally pro life, and the thing is, of course I have an issue with people being pro-choice because I'm pro-life, but you have the freedom to believe whatever you want to believe. You have the freedom of speech and expression, so I'm not going to condemn someone for their ideas, but I will condemn you for being a hypocrite, right? Again, someone who is pro-choice saying that, well, yeah, this tiny bit of bacteria we found on Mars is life, but that heartbeat is not. You know what I mean? It's like, what's the difference? Or like I saw the other day, and it was actually a really sad story. There was a mass shooting, and the headlines was mass shooting, pregnant woman killed along with unborn baby. And I always find that really fascinating, how like if someone assumes that the mother wanted the baby or the unborn baby, it's a baby, but when someone doesn't want the baby, it's a fetus or a parasite. It's like, depends. Like, so basically the only thing that gives that child, that unborn baby, any humanity is if they're wanted or not. But if they're not wanted, then it's just trash, it's toxic waste. Just suck it out and throw it out and throw it away. You know what I mean? And if that's your mindset, it's like, so you're saying that kids in foster care or kids who need to be adopted don't deserve humanity because they weren't wanted. You know what I mean? And so like, it's just really funny, Pete, that like hypocrisy, right? Like, why can someone be charged with double murder if they kill a pregnant woman and an unborn child? How is that murder if you're telling us also that it's not a child yet? Like, where is the principles that don't move up and down, right? And so like I just think, and I can go on and on and on about, like, I really think there's a lot of double talk when it comes to the whole pro-choice side. Like, there are women and men out there that say like, nope, I believe in abortions all the way to 8 months and I won't change my stance, and if a woman dies 8 months pregnant or murdered, that is not really murder because that baby wasn't born and it's not a human life yet. A lot of people will say that. There are some people who will say that, but there's a lot of other people that say like, well, I mean, we don't know if the mom wanted the baby, so kind of is double murder, but like if she didn't want the baby, then it's just a fetus or fungus or parasite. It's like, I don't know. I have a lot of issues with the whole pro-life community as a whole because I feel like they just don't say what they feel because it sounds ugly, and so they have to like pretty up the language so it sounds more acceptable, and then they kind of like demonize people who are pro-life by making the language really ugly over there, instead of being like, these people legitimately care about the sanctity of unborn children. They go, oh well, it's just a bunch of like white cis men who wants to control women's bodies. Like, they change the language so one sounds acceptable and the other one doesn't sound acceptable, instead of being like, I'm pro-life, I believe in the right to be able to kill an unborn baby. That is what you believe in. Why can't you just say it? Because it sounds ugly, it sounds bad, and it's harder to get people to join that group if that is what your tagline is. So they say like, no, it's not a kid here, it's not a baby, it's not a child yet, and that's not backed by science. Like, you can read scientific articles that tell you like babies have nerves and stuff like that within a few weeks of development, meaning that they feel the pain of an abortion. You are causing pain. But you won't hear any pro-choice people saying that because, again, they need to like kind of water down the language around it so it sounds more acceptable. And I mean, the other side does it too by just calling the other side murderers, you know what I mean? So both sides do it. I don't call people murderers. I just say like, I don't agree with your belief that it's okay to kill unborn babies. I think that's fucked up. I think that's fucked up for the world and society and our generations and our future, because who knows what those babies would have been if they had the ability to have a life. Anyway, talking too long, moving on.
Y'all so stupid. Why are y'all so stupid? Get better problems, I swear to God that y'all want them. Y'all so dumb. People so stupid, people so dumb, people so boo-hoo, wah. Get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues, it's so dumb.
Okay, I want to let the chorus play out, but I like the chorus part when he says like, it seems like you want the problems. Yeah, it does seem like that. It seems like people literally spend their whole life and sometimes make a living off of like getting their magnifying glass and getting their pick and like picking through shit and rubble to find an issue so they can go blast it on the internet and make it seem like we're this horrible country, or men are so bad, or white men are so bad, by like the stupidest things, by that whole controversy about can white people use black gifs or memes. Like, really? Who the fuck sat there and was like, what can I bitch about today? You know what? Gifs. You know what I mean? Or white girls having an urban accent and calling it black accent, because yeah, only black people grow up and born in urban cities. Everybody knows no white people do. Of course, white people are raised in urban cities, and therefore they'll probably adopt the culture around them and have certain dialect that sounds like an urban accent. Like, why are we concentrating on this? Like, people literally sit there and like shuffle through rubble to find an issue. And for me, if racism was so big and blatant and in your face and hasn't gone anywhere, then you wouldn't have to be talking about black gifts to prove that the racism is still alive and well. Like, you literally should be able to walk out of your house with a phone and just film it if it's that bad and it's that rampant. Hey, let's get back into it.
Run out of tissues, it's so dumb. I'm a hater because I can't relate to gay pride. Call me homophobic because I don't want to date guys. K-type.
Okay, so the whole like, you call me homophobic because I don't want to date guys. I believe that comes from, and this is just my assumption, comes from, again, a couple of years back, it was kind of viral on their YouTube sphere of like trans people saying if you don't want to date a trans woman, then you are a transphobic and homophobic. And for me, I'm like, that makes absolutely no sense. It's the same thing of saying to somebody if they don't want to date a black person or a black woman, then you're racist. Of course, I mean, it depends why. Like, if you don't want to date a black woman because you think all black women are horrible and low IQ and you think you're more superior than them, then yeah, you're probably racist. And the same thing goes with trans or gay people. If you just generally hate gay people and trans people, then yeah, you're transphobic and homophobic. But if I forgot if it's post-op or pre-op, but if like a trans woman still has her male genitalia that she was born with, then a man is just not attracted to male genitalia, you can't make him be sexually attracted to that. Like, you can't. And I know the whole argument is like, oh, what if you go on a date with a trans woman and you like everything about her and the only thing that's stopping you is what's between her legs? Yeah. It's really that simple. It's not that complicated. It's like we fought against gay conversion for how long, but then now you're trying to convert straight men into like liking penis. If they don't like penis, they don't like it, they don't like it. And I don't know about you, but sex is a pretty large part of a relationship. And if they can't get around it, then they can't get around it. It doesn't make them transphobic or homophobic. It just makes them men who don't like penises. I'm not gonna say straight or anything like that, because there are straight men who date trans women who still have their male genitalia and they are not gay. And like, there's men who likes it anally, and it doesn't mean that they're gay. So I'm not gonna say that straight men just wouldn't want to date someone who still had male genitalia. It's just men who are not sexually attracted to male genitalia, and you can't make someone sexually attracted to something they're just not sexually attracted to. Like, it's just blatant common sense. But let's continue.
I, for one, I'm not surprised the world declined along the way. Give trophies to children for losing just because they decide to play. We exercise our right to vote and hate the politicians.
Exactly. Like, I remember when I was younger, like, I would sit there and I remember hearing like older people talk about that. That was like, I remember there was a moment in my childhood where I would hear older people talk about how that is so screwed up that they're giving participation awards. And I've even gotten a couple when I was in elementary school. And I remember thinking it was quite mean, like, oh, come on, they're just kids, like, let them have their awards. But I really do think it like created this like this a society of people who are very entitled. Like, I'm entitled to feel good about myself. I'm entitled to feel proud about myself. I'm entitled to the thing, and you need to make me feel that way. You know what I mean? It's like, and of course, and it also just creates a society of like weaklings, because you have to fall on your face a couple of times to be able to build yourself up and win. And actually, you gain more pride and self-worth from doing that. You know what I mean? I saw this video one time of this father. He was racing his little boy, and of course the father is taller and has super long legs. He can easily beat his son, and he beat his son on purpose quite a few times. And he kept telling the son, like, you just have to work harder, just keep going, don't get mad, don't throw a tantrum, don't cry, just keep going. And his son eventually got faster and faster and faster, and of course the father over time kind of pulled back and allowed his son to win. But he wanted to create that opportunity for his son to fail, to try, and then finally win and gain that pride that he got for just not giving up and trying. But you kind of strip that away from a generation of people, and they don't have that self-worth or that self-confidence, and most of them are very self-loathing. But so they have to build their pride off of things that didn't work for, right? They have to build their pride off of their race, and they have to build their pride off of their gender. They have to build their pride off of their sexual orientation. They have to build their pride off of just being fat. Like, nothing I did to actually garner this pride, but this is where I have to get my pride from, because that opportunity to gain it in different ways was taken away from me. I never learned what losing was. And so when I didn't lose and then try harder to win, to gain that self-confidence, I had to find my worth is somewhere else. And that's why people are so attached to identity politics, because it's their whole identity. That's why people get really offended by race conversations or by sexual orientation conversations, or if you if you criticize the fat acceptance movement, because that is their entire identity. If you take that away from them, they don't have anything else, because they never actually tried to do anything else, fail on their face multiple times, rebuild themselves back up, and then win and get that pride. When you have pride in other things that you accomplished and stuff, your pride in your gender and your race and your sexual orientation is just not that important. You're proud of it, but that doesn't trump the pride that you get and the self-worth and the confidence that you get when you really achieve something that you really worked hard for. Okay, let's continue.
Hey, this is a democracy, it's partly your decision. Hey, this is weird, feels like this a different year. If I identify as a female, then when my balls and penis disappear. Children want a gender switch and hating men is feminist. Depression and anxiety are trendy, we're too sensitive. Invented 80 genders, mad the world is not accepting it. Then gave them more attention than normal women and men can get. What a contradiction, being human is so tragic. Focus on minorities, ignoring...
Yeah. Basically, and I know a lot of feminists are gonna say, no, feminism is not about hating men. I know feminists and they hate men, like, which of course is gonna be the downfall of society, because I don't understand how you expect heterosexual relationships to work if women are literally going into relationships completely resenting their male partner and having this anger and this bitterness towards them because they think that, you know, they are secretly trying to constantly strip them of their rights or something like that. I recently hung out with a girl who recently graduated from university, and she hated men, and she was indoctrinated by her progressive university. Like, it has gotten to that point, and it's just the same thing of just divide and conquer in your society, so the government and the higher ups and the media can control by keeping everyone divided and hating each other. Mental health, and the thing is, it's always like something that starts off well, right? So the expansion and the conversation of mental health, making it less of a stigma to be able to talk about your mental health, is a great thing. But then it has gone too far, and like everything has a label to it, and everything is a mental health problem, and everybody sits there, and there are people who gain clout and views in the audience around their mental health, people who romanticize mental health, and then big corporate companies banking off of mental health. Like, it's just getting too much. And yes, people are way too fucking sensitive. We are a soft skin, pussified society, for sure, which again I think is going to lead to the downfall of America, of the country, of the Western world.
Your children want a gender switch and hating men is feminist. Depression and anxiety are trendy, we're too sensitive. Invented 80 genders, mad the world is not accepting it, then gave them more attention than...
Exactly, the world is not accepting it. As much as you hear the left, and just as much as like it seems like that is the case, like, okay, this whole like 80 genders or infinite genders is kind of winning the culture war. It's because that's just the mainstream narrative. If you look on the internet, no one's buying it. Like, yes, there's a gender spectrum. Yes, there's a sexuality spectrum. But on both ends of the spectrum, there's still man and woman. Now, you can identify as a woman and be more masculine, and you can identify as a female and be more male. And I think that's where the whole like non-binary thing comes in. And I don't have a problem with labeling it something, but it's not different genders. It's just a spectrum. Let's continue.
Accepting it, then gave them more attention than normal women and men can get. What a contradiction, being human is so tragic. Focus on minorities, ignoring all the masses. Hallelujah, everyone. Activism saved the planet. No more plastic straws and paper, just paper straws wrapped in plastic. Congratulations.
I love that. The whole like paper straws wrapped up in plastic is so true, and it's so true in a lot of these different sort of activism groups who seem like on the surface that they're doing something correct, but a lot of them don't actually like know how to get to point A to point B. They just have these idealistic ideas like universal health care and universal income with open borders. Like, how do you make that happen? They don't know. Just do it because it sounds nice. And so like it kind of reminds me of like the PETA situation that happened some years back, where a bunch of people, I think it was in Australia, like released all these foxes or some sort of animal into the wild because they were trying to free them, but then all those animals started attacking other people's farm animals, and they got all killed anyway because they were like causing a nuisance in the local area around them, so they all got killed. So they were fine, they were alive when they were in captivity, you released them, and now they're all dead. It's like this whole, like, it sounds great in a moment, but we don't actually have a plan B or really know how things work because we're all perpetual adolescents, so we don't have any actual real world experience. And the whole, like, focus on minorities, forget the masses. Like, of course, like, if there's a group of people that are being oppressed as a society, we should want to voice that and help those people, and we have done that in the past. The abolishment of slavery, women's rights, and gay rights. But you just divide your country even more when you pretend that no one else in your country that's a part of the majority has any problems or any issues. You ignore any of their complaints and only focus on these other people. That's an issue because that whole group of people are going to feel isolated. They're going to feel like their voices aren't heard, and they are going to eventually do something about it, like the Capitol. Which I completely disagree that they should have done that, but I think they were just mimicking their friends and their neighbors, like, I don't know, Antifa and BLM, who rioted for months straight and completely got bailed out of jail over and over and over again, even though they were the cause of multiple deaths and destroying black communities, you know. But, you know, those are peaceful protests, and the Capitol riots were, you know, terrorist. Yeah.
Wrapped in plastic, congratulations.
Y'all so stupid. Why are y'all so stupid? Get better problems, I swear to God that y'all want them. Y'all so dumb. People so stupid, people so dumb. People so boo-hoo, wah, wah, wah. Get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues. It's so dumb. Look, I
agree, get better issues. Like, it's the same thing with, again, going back to these different groups so I can explain where I'm coming from. Same thing with, like, feminism. It's like we went through that era of, like, people bitching about mansplaining and manspreading and stuff like that, where it's like, are you really focusing on something that's so petty and minute, where there's still women in other countries that literally do not have the same rights as their male counterparts? Women in America have equal rights to men. Now, somebody might not be following the law, like a workplace or a cop or something like that, but it's still there are no laws that are not equal to men and women, except I believe like parental laws. Like written in law is not only equal for men and women, but women are very much more favored when it comes to parental laws. But like, so they focus on like the most pettiest shit, which again should show you that I think we've transcended, because if like spreading and mansplaining is like your biggest issues, then I think we're good. Again, I'm not saying there's no more growth that needs to happen, but I think that you have first world problems, and instead of like taking their energy and focusing on women who actually do not have equal laws to men, women who are still being like female castrated, women who are still being used and traded like property, women who actually live in RAPE culture. And when I say RAPE culture, I mean like you live in a town, if you are RAPE'd, you are literally ostracized out of your town. Like, you are thrown out into the streets. Your family disowns you. That is real RAPE culture. So instead of actually focusing on those things where they can put their energy into something, they focus on petty. And this is why I've said in my other videos that I don't actually believe activists or people want to help at all, because they focus on the tiny little things to make it seem like they're doing all this work, but they won't actually put their energy into something that's really, really hard to change, because they want all the clout of being an activist, but they don't actually want to do any of the work of an activist. Continue.
Look, I get it, it's like the world is going crazy. Seems like a school shooting happens almost daily. The racism, rape culture, hatred that we're facing is way too ingrained for our hashtags to change it. We've become so lazy and complacent, afraid of our generation. We think activism's Instagramming memes and complaining. It's a problem when there's actually actions you could be taking, but you're triggered, so you just cry like a baby.
I agree. I just said that. Like, you can actually be putting your energy into something that really needs attention. You know, like, I forgot the name of that group, but the freaking ethnic genocide, the Rohingya tribe that happened in Burma, that got completely ignored by all the activists online. The fact that, like, homosexuals still get stoned and jailed and killed in other countries completely get ignored. But, like, yeah, let's just talk about, like, the fact that, like, people will use black gifts and memes and mansplaining and the fact that you're culturally appropriating because you have braids, and the fact that you said you like my hair because, so that's a microaggression. Like, all these other things that are so petty. Again, it's like busybody. Like, look, I'm an activist, I'm doing all these things by writing an article about how me being black and fat is a political statement, but you're not actually putting your energy into actual real problems in this world. And I'm not saying that's everybody else's responsibility to do so, but if you're gonna label yourself an activist, then actually do some activism, not just tweeting shit and writing goddamn blogs that nobody cares about. So yeah, like, again, instead of really having harder conversations and really doing something, you just cry on the internet about, again, something that really doesn't matter. Like, whatever.
Y'all so stupid, why are y'all so stupid? Get better problems, I swear to God that y'all want them, y'all so dumb. People so stupid, people so dumb, people so boo-hoo, wah. Get better issues, we're gonna run out of tissues, it's so dumb.
Good job, Nova Rockefeller, of course. Okay, yeah, I love this video. Again, this was my first video I ever saw of Tom MacDonald, and I was pretty much a fan after that. Everything he said was facts. I love the production. I love the look. I love how a lot of times he's done this in multiple of his songs, but he doesn't even let the beat drop, and he gets right into it because it catches you off guard, and you're like, oh shit, wait, and you gotta rewind. I love his look. I love the black eyes and the braids. I love the whole, like, narrative that he's like the news person, and the news is basically like spreading all this misinformation because, again, they don't care about facts and giving you the complete story. They care about telling you what you want to hear so you can keep coming back and giving them views so they can pay their bills. Alright guys, that is it. Again, if you want to complain about how long my videos are, just put them in a comment section below. It's the nature of my channel. I am not a reaction video channel that just bobs their head, kind of says, oh, those are bars, and then say goodbye. Like, this is, especially if I'm reviewing something and breaking it all down and giving my opinion, they're going to be longer videos. See it as a podcast. Pop your earbuds in, your headphones in, go do your nails, go, I don't know, bake your chicken or watch your kids or something and just listen. But if you want me to react and review any more Tom MacDonald songs, put them in the comment section below. I have seen mostly all Tom MacDonald songs, so there will be reviews and breakdowns, not first reactions. I think there's one song I haven't watched yet, and I'm not even sure the name of it, and I know he's coming out with his new video, which is going to be a first reaction video, and I can't wait because I'm really excited. Again, if you have any other comments, if you agree with me or not, disagree with me, put in the comment section below. Also, if there's anything else at all you want me to react to, because I'm not just reacting to music videos on this channel, please put in the comment section below. Please like, comment, and subscribe. It helps with the algorithm, and let's get to 500 subscribers. All right, goodbye guys, have a good day.